Okay, let me check that. Okay, let me check that. Everything works. Looks like it is. Oh boy, I forgot how to stream after all this time, honestly. Hopefully everything will be functional. Probably not, but you know, this is life. Okay. Okay, I checked everything, I think. I guess let's start. So, yeah, it's been a long time since my last stream. I believe it's more than a year, I think. I checked like my last upload on my YouTube channel. Yeah, that's been a while, that's for sure. But you know, I want to stream video games and I want to talk about their level design, game design. So that desire didn't change, and I eventually decided I not decided but decided to come back. And this time, maybe even something more to my streams. The initial idea was just turn on webcam, but then I remembered, hey, wait a second. I love VTubers. I watch lots of VTubers, and from what I know, it's not that hard to set up the whole thing. It was only partially true. Yeah, you can relatively easy get the whole VTuber thing. Like in my case, you can see this is very basic avatar that I got on Viroid. This is basically like a default model, a default male model that is available for you. I just did a bunch of custom changes to it according to my sort of vision of this of how I want to see my VTuber avatar basically. But eventually, I guess if the whole thing will work out, I'll have to commission a proper avatar eventually. But for now, I think this should work, and I think it kind of works. It looks more or less okay. I guess it looks functional. So, yep. So I guess it means I come back to streaming even better than before, sort of. Mm, and today we're playing Promesa, a game that I wanted to play a long time ago. Yeah, this is relatively a new game. Well, relatively, I mean it's like 2 years old or something at this point. But yeah, I wanted to play it for a while too, and I played it yesterday. And yeah, it made me think about a bunch of stuff, and I would like to talk about this stuff on the stream. So yeah, I guess let's do a little bit of introduction. My name is Nikolai Tsoi. I work as a level designer in game industry. I love video games, and I also love, studying and thinking about what is going on in these games in terms of game and level design. And today we'll do exactly that. Well, actually, level design wise, Promesa is there is not much going on in this game in this regard, but uh, how should I put it? This game basically exists in a genre of the so-called walking sims, you can say. Games like Dear Esther, Stanley Parable, Gone Home, etc. But it's a new one, right? So it is interesting what it's doing after we have what it's doing with sort of conventions of this genre, you can say, especially considering that some of these conventions they changed in time with games like What Remains of Edith Finch, for example, that kind of pushed the mechanical minimalism that it was very common for these games. Yeah, it's an interesting topic to discuss. I think how Promesa fits in the whole walking sim discourse. What it shows us in this regard. What can it tell us about its state? Because it's relatively new one. Well, relatively 2 years is a long period of time, you can say, but still, I got to it only now, so that's I'll consider it's relatively late, relatively new. Also, another important thing before we start to mention is that Promesa is a very artistic game. It's environment art wise. Well, you can argue any walking sim is all basically about environment art. One way or another, it's like one of the core pillars of these games, right? And I'm not an art guy, unfortunately. I'm a level designer in a very sort of modern AAA industry sort of sense, which means I don't really do art. All I do is just I move cubes and sets enemy spawns and think about players' sightlines. And that's really it. However, there is a very good commentary by another person of this game. This person is Robert Young, and he did a very good video on this one. So I think I'll just give me a second. I'll send a link in chat. Probably should have prepared it beforehand, but you know. Yeah, let me put it in chat, and I guess I'll put it into description of what on YouTube. Okay, So I guess that's all I wanted to say beforehand. Hmm. Either way, it's been 10 minutes. Okay, so Promesa lasts about 45 minutes and has no save system. Headphones in a dark room are recommended. You know, you know when you read sentences like this, it's a real deal, you know. So we have a little bit of a guide about controls. Okay, let me get a sip. Hopefully the audio is not too loud. Actually, let me preemptively make it a little bit less loud. Just a little bit less. Okay, let's go. And so this is our beginning. And well, God, I'm worried that the sound of the game can actually be a little bit too much. Hopefully not. Hopefully not. The sound in this game is so good. But anyway, so this is our beginning. We basically have every scene starts like this. Have a little bit of text. We have a text in. Is it Italian? I think it's Italian. I believe it's Italian. It might be wrong. So, and we have then the localized version below it, and I really love it. I really love this part because this game is. It's basically set in a spaces inspired by you know, Italian / Argentinian cities, I think. Something along those lines. And I love how this text. I assume it's in Italian. Please correct me if I'm wrong, someone in comments or in chat. It just helps to reestablish the whole thing, I think. That you I've been watching. I watched this video from Errant Signal on YouTube. He did like a review of some Indonesian horror game called Pamali, I think, or Panali. I think it's Pamali. Again, might be wrong on this one. Either way, check it out like on Errant Signal YouTube channel. It's a good stuff. So it's an Indonesian horror game, and what they did in this one, they made every text, including like text and textures, for example. So every text in the game is written in Indonesian by default, and then you have an option to translate it, like in game as you play, to translate all those texts into whatever language you picked up as your localization option, whether it's like English or something else. And I think this is such a good approach to these non-Western, non-English video games. How this is, I think, a very good way to reinforce that this game is set in a very specific cultural space, right? In a very specific country. And languages, like you can argue, very basically maybe one of the most important parts of this cultural spaces, right? A lot, whether it's Indonesia or it's like Italy. Yeah, I'll assume it's Italian, and I won't stop worrying about it, whether I'm wrong or not. And it's just you cannot ignore it. It's right in your face, right? This is Italian. This is not English video game. It's set in a different setting completely. And I just think it's a right way to approach it. By the way, oh my god, we were stuck. We were stuck in the beginning. We didn't even get to the first scene. Okay, so I'm not going to read this one. Honestly, this game, it's similar to Dear Esther in regard of it doesn't really have sort of coherent, like explicitly, easily readable story. You can say. So those text fragments, they kind of they help you to get some sort of sense of what is going on, but in the end, you won't get like a complete picture, which I think it's completely fine. All right, let's get to it. I also love how the X icon kind of reinforces the fact that you need to press X to to progress. A little detail, but a nice one. Okay, so and right from the start, we already have a very interesting thing going on. We basically appear in this some kind of pitch black void outside of the scene, basically outside of the game space. Well, arguably, you can say this is game space too. This is just, yeah, it's like even inside of those the walking sims, right? Even inside of this genre, even those walking sims who kind of go for surreal spaces, for dream like logic as their core sort of structure. Even they don't really do this. You don't see this kind of a introduction very often. For example, Dear Esther doesn't do it really. Beginner's Guide, the same thing. Stanley Parable. Yeah, it's just you're kind of floating. You're kind of floating to this scene. And listen to the sound. Yeah, the sound design in this one is, it feels very accentuated. Is this a word? It feels very accentuated and focused. And a bit exaggerated. Like this sound of car that is passing at a very high speed, right? It's very loud even. It's maybe a little bit even too loud sometimes, but I think it helps to establish the mood, the overall mood of the game, or the scene, I guess. Yeah. The doors are open for us to enter. And we are some sort of a room that we probably lived in. Yeah, also this sound sometimes can kind of scare you even. They have a little bit of a horror quality to them. Which is, I'm not sure if it's intentional, but this game is interesting in terms of how detailed some environments are. Because this one you can see there's a lot of stuff going on, right? It's it's fully, you can say, fully set dressed, a room, like a living room, right? Now we're going to the next scene. This fade in is serves a kind of as a transition. Okay, maybe I'll read those. Feels a little bit disrespectful to not read those. I'll read the English one, obviously. You see, this morning she was completely lost, out of this world. She was staring at the void. That's what I fear, because I know that one day that emptiness will arrive, and she'll be far from everything. Things get a tad more complicated every day. It's hard, very hard. Anyway, let me tell you, truth is that we were lucky. And here we are, the two of us. It was never an easy life for us, you know? Okay. Oh, now in this cave. This scene I haven't seen actually. So the way this game is structured, it's, I don't know how random it is, but every walkthrough is a bit random. Sometimes you get one scene, sometimes another. This one I didn't get during my first playthrough, so that's kind of cool. Oh, this music. Again, as I mentioned, how the sound design is. Oh, hello, Quasi Order. Nice to see you. It's been a while. We talked on the stream, huh? I'm playing Promesa this time, which is not Quake, but it's still pretty interesting game in my opinion. Oh, you love this game? Oh, okay, that's good. Yeah, it's I'm kind of approaching it on this stream from sort of walking sim sort of genre, how it fits into the whole thing, and how it compares to other. Oh my god, I hope this, I feel like this music is probably too loud. By the way, yeah, if it's, tell me if it's too loud or to something else. Yeah, this definitely can be the case. I completely forgot how to stream. Music is good? Okay, that's good. Damn, it feels a little bit too loud, but I think this is the point. That's exactly what sells it even more, I think. It would help to establish the whole mood. It's how exaggerated it is. On this rain too, how kind of everything stopped. Oh no, it's moving, just very slowly, and we're flying across above this kind of like a city. Yeah, you can see how the way scenes are treated in this game. I guess the perspective is treated. It's just it's very how do you call it? Free form. Like in the first scene, we were flying kind of like a ghost. Then we got into this room, and it felt more or less kind of like normal human perspective. But now we're just, I don't know what is going on. We're kind of like a bird that flies through the city or something like this. And you can see how buildings are very they're very simple in terms of their shape, of their texture, kind of like a toy like, or what do they call, diorama? Is this a thing? Yeah, it feels like a miniature of a city compared to the previous scene too, where it was a very highly detailed, very dense, you can say, even in terms of detail room. Yeah, it feels completely different. Oh, we're descending? Nope. Okay. Okay, so now we're in a different scene, and this time the camera moves on its own even. Oh, okay, this is... Hmm. So maybe this is the same city we were flying above. Oh, this music is even a little bit deafening sometimes, which is again I like a lot. It's just it makes it a bit more memorable too. So I guess this is the same city. Looks like just a very particular part of it, and we're descending into it. Honestly, we walking sims a lot of times they're criticized for their. I'm gonna stop because I'm not sure if it's there will be a transition suddenly. They're criticized a lot of times for being like very mechanically minimalistic, that you can only walk. But you know what? Sometimes maybe even walking is not necessarily, or like in this case, floating. Actually, maybe just looking around, and that's really it. It's all you need, because like in this case, I think it works very well. Mm, I don't think I got the scene when I played, so it's randomized. Yeah. I know that they're randomized, but yeah, maybe it's a different scene. It looked like kind of like a continuation of the previous one, but maybe I'm overthinking it. Um, well, anyway, let's see what's going on. Okay, now I can move. Hmm. Okay, maybe. Oh, all right. I see. This is where I should go. Right. I guess we're getting into this room. We have a bunch of ghost chairs and tables and other items. I really like how this game is just. You can say it's very artistic, right? The way it treats mm, these spaces that you need to go through. How basically everything that is unnecessary is just it's cut off. It's just pitch black, right? But at the same time, you can say it's brutally efficient way to make a video game at the same time, right? It's such cost efficient, such effective way to reduce cost of production by simply putting everything in a black pitch sort of area, and that's it, right? Because usually the way you expect video games to do it is to model some kind of background, right? Some kind of decorative geometry that gives you an illusion that yeah, there is something else beyond the game space that you navigate. There is actually a world, like a real world outside. You just can't get to it. But yeah, it's interesting how you can. There are like sort of several qualities that usually you can say they're kind of they're antagonistic to each other, right? The artisanship and the effective production sort of thingy. Yeah, but In this case, they work very well together, I can say. Yeah, I think I got this in my first playthrough. This skybox is so nice. How I assume this is the moon, I guess. Oh no, you're already getting out. It's. I can say I'm a big fan of how the way games sometimes transitions. That is just it feels a little bit too random, too abrupt. When you want to soak, you want to linger a little bit more in this space. Just kind of, I don't know, a little bit anticlimactic. You can call it this experience. How I'd do it? I would. I mean, the immediate answer that comes to my mind is to get some kind of explicit trigger, maybe, like how in the previous scene we got to this weird spirit sort of table scene. So maybe you could establish this and like in every scene you have this goal that you need to reach, and this goal is visually consistent, right, across all scenes. Like it's ghost bicycle, because I believe in some scene there is like a bicycles that you need to get, something along those lines. Big red button. Yeah, that would be ideal. That would be a very very good way to do it. But for this game, maybe ghost items would work too. Yeah, this part is a kind of a little bit tricky for me, the way they do this. Okay, let's read a little bit of text. How people change. You know that I keep forgetting the names of streets by not wanting to remember all the bad that happened. I forgot a lot of things. Look, the only thing I will always forget is not having learned Russian. Oh, this one sings to me. Well, because my native language is Russian, so yeah, this one is very good. Um, one should be born again. What can we do? There are things that I did not learn and that I'll never get to learn. Yeah, I some of these texts, I assume they're like the whole game is basically kind of like a conversation between a grandfather and his like and a younger person, right? Something along those lines. And I assume some of these texts belong to the older person. How they basically get to the worst parts of aging, basically, right? When you start forgetting stuff and everything, your cognitive abilities just decrease more and more. Yeah, those some of these texts are like very relatable on a kind of like very scary level. But anyway, let's continue. Yeah, and again we have this very different scene, right? In terms of details, in terms of the texturing too. How it's like very simple. And I'll be honest, when I played the first time, I kind of bounced a little bit of it. But you can say that it's very fitting way to do the whole, because these scenes are basically kind of like memories, right? Memories of the past or kind of like dreams, this kind of thing. And you can argue that actually that's a very fitting, very outstanding way to sort of to evoke the idea of memory, right, of a dream. How we remember things. It's how we remember basically the, let's say, building in your childhood town or something like this, that you remember the color, maybe like the overall color, remember like the overall shape, some details, like yeah, it had windows maybe, but that's really it, and that's all you really can recall. And actually maybe this is pretty good way to get this dreamlike or memory-like sort of experience, to get this across. Yeah, at the same time, the contrast. Oh yeah, it's kind of, yeah. It feels like it's distorted a little bit in a weird way. You love the flat texture look a lot. Hmm. I mean, I think I prefer the scenes that are more of a more detailed, but I get the idea. I get the function of these scenes too. Is it just a single texture, or is it just? Well, I guess you can say this just like one color, basically, right? Like one solid color, basically, used for each of those buildings, kind of like this. Oh, you mean in general? Yeah, yeah, I get what you're talking about. Well, they definitely can have their own charm. That's for sure. And maybe another thing is some scenes having this very sort of minimalistic, primitive kind of like execution, and some scenes in contrast being very highly detailed. Is that, just some memories, some things we remember better, some things we remember worse, like childhood memories, something like this. It's just how memories, like in general, they turn to sort of degrade, right, and become less reliable. So maybe this is also what's kind of going on here. I honestly, I love. They're like, I remember this Promesa is similar in, I guess you can say, Dear Esther in this regard. How it's just it's hard to understand what's going on in terms of narrative, in terms of even environments that you're navigating through. And I remember how some people, like on forums back in the day, they were trying to piece everything together, trying to like figure out what this means, or like what that environment means, or like that prop means, or that dialogue means, and to kind of build like a coherent, complete picture. And it is, I think, a very strong asset of those games that they incentivize a sort of interpretational effort, you can say. Like, you just in terms of mechanics, right? I'm not really doing much. I'm just moving around, I'm looking around, and that's really it. But in my mind, it's in my mind, I'm very engaged in what's going on, right? There are like so many different thoughts that comes to me, and kind of allow me to make sense of what's going on, and all the theories and hypotheses. It's just, I think, like the strengths of those games that people, like lots of gamers, like casual gamers, kind of miss. So this is where I go. Yes. Flying again. Okay. Yeah, it's the sound again is just I kind of think I pointed out to it already a few times, but damn, it's just it works so well. I think. Mm. Oh yeah, another thing you can mention. Oh, so another thing you can mention that usually, if you're talking about the sort of the place that Promesa is taking inside that whole walking sim genre, is that the sort of classical walking sim formula relies heavily on this narration, right? As you go through the spaces, there's always someone that tells you a story, basically, right? Whether we're talking about Dear Esther or Stanley Parable or Gone Home, there's always someone gives you some kind of exposition, some kind of storytelling, and Promesa doesn't have any of that, right? But instead of it, it has like such a, you can say in terms of sound, it has equally strong option, right? In terms of how strong overall the sound design, the ambient, and the music too. So you don't even need it. You don't even need someone to tell you a story. Like this whole thing just works well on its own. So in the end, maybe walking sims don't really need to have those narrators that give you some kind of story every like few minutes as you go through like some gorgeous environment, something like this. I like, oh, this, it's like it's a drop of water. It's so loud. It's so loud. It's kind of like a SMR esque sort of. It's just, it feels like in terms of positionally, it feels like it's right near me, right? Just the sound is a little bit invasive even in this regard. Oh, it's, is it like a sink? Is this where it's coming from? Maybe. Yeah, this texture, like the whole pixelite sort of effect is very nice. Again, overall, if you're talking about walking sims, uh, usually these games, the traditionally they rely on sort of very high quality, high fidelity environment art, basically a triple A industry level environment art, right? Like very beautiful, very highly detailed spaces. If you're looking to your Esther, for example, or like Gone Home, Stanley Parable, or like Everyone Gone to Rapture, like one of the relatively latest titles of Chinese Room. I don't remember if they did anything else after this one. Yeah, but and Promesa again just breaks it. Promesa just goes for like very. It kind of goes in the opposite direction in certain scenes, right? And you can argue that you don't know either. Yeah, I think Everyone Gone to Rapture is like their last title. So yeah, you can argue that this those highly detailed, high fidelity environments are very important, like very important for walking sims because uh, as if you move through space, if you basically your core gameplay is just it's moving and navigating the space in its own needs to be very interesting, right? It could be captivating. It should like attract your attention. through all sort of details, right? Uh, and then you can see that like it's a very essential component of walking sim to be successful. But again, Promesa just shows us that actually maybe that's not the case at all. Maybe it's not about having, you know, highly detailed environments either. Oh, that's interesting space. Hmm. There's very nice lighting effects of cars passing by. Oh, we have another one. We have another ghost object. I love this. I don't know. It's like ghost people like completely overrated thing. Just uninspiring, uncreative, uninteresting. Ghost piano or like forte piano, whatever this thing is. That's what we need. That's exactly what I'm into. Like, look at this stuff. I haven't played it yet, but his latest work, which was is very stylish. Oh yeah. I haven't played this one either, but I think I will. I wanted to, and maybe I will stream it too in the future. Yeah, it's again as we talked, right? We talked a little bit uh, earlier about how this game could be a little bit more explicit in terms of what triggers transitions between scenes, and like I think reaching these objects and like establishing these objects as your goals again, maybe it's like one way to do it, because it looks like I need to get close to it in order to get to the next one. And it also, I think it's like thematically it works because again, you can say that how our memories are just they focused like on a few specific things, and how this memory is basically about this piano and like all the associations the person has with this one. I'm kind of sad that we can't play it, but you know, you can't ask for too much. Oh. You see, I've reached an age where I'm trying to make all that I know not to slip away. I used to remember a great deal of things, and now I have to fight every day. I can't learn new things anymore, you know. For me, it's already a lot to keep doing the things I know. Yeah, this one just speaks to with me a lot because, like, in general, my memory is very bad. Like, I constantly forget words, you know. So this one speaks to my heart on a separate level. Oh yeah, I remember this one. This one is wild. It's just it's one texture, and it's the color is so bizarre. It's like this black what is going on? And it's like a supermarket, I think. Yeah, I mean, I love the contrast, but yeah, it's this one is a little bit bizarre, even compared to other scenes. What is the sound? Is it like a car? Yeah, I almost like my no lighting plus fog map. Yeah, kinda. You can find similarities, that's for sure. Oh, and also this game plays a lot with the height of your camera, which is I assume to sort of to to give this to turn what's the word uh to evoke the idea of that we're basically inhabiting like people in their different ages, like a kid, like a grown-up man, maybe something like this. I'm not sure, so that's like was one of my interpretations. But yeah, maybe it's not that. But pretty interesting too how usually like in video games uh, we we experience video games as like first person video games from the perspective of basically a grown up person, right? Grown up adult. And this kind of creates a very we get used to a very specific way of saying of perceiving things, right, from very specific hate. And when you like encounter like this child sort of perspective, it just it it has a nice sense of novelty to it, I think. Oh, this is just, it feels so weird, right? Like, wait a second, what is going on? Oh, okay, now this scene I remember. Yeah, this one is interesting too. It's like, it's like we're the first time I saw it, it's like the idea was that we're chasing this train car. I don't know what you call how you call this one in English. It's like we're chasing some like fleeting memories, or something along those lines. But man, we're very fast runners, I should say. That's humans shouldn't be able to run at this speed. So yeah, maybe this is not a good, if not a fitting interpretation for this one. And we can move in this one, so you can get to this train car. This is so weird. Just like what is this? What is going on? Like, why am I outside of this thing? Yeah, it's just you kind of this game. You feel like after a bunch of scenes, you get used to it, but then it just throws you like another punch that you just didn't expect at all. Although the contrast, like you have these trees and kind of, well, I thought it was a sunny like a skybox sort of, but not really. But yeah, still this void that surrounds us is like this contrast is so weird. And actually, our goal is in front of this train car. It's like a bunch of other ghost objects. Yeah. Oops. What? Oh, look at this. So the void is moving too. Yeah, that was a wild one. Hmm. Okay, how do you think I'm feeling? I'm in a deep hole, laying here, restless, worried, and for that reason I start screwing around on the computer, because I'm sunk and play rounds of solitaire, trying to catch a break. I stared there too long, so I just end up more nervous than I was. Oh, I think this is the first thing I had in my first playthrough. So I saw there is like there is randomness to the way the order of the scenes, but I saw there is still some kind of like some scenes they perform a certain role. Like some scenes can be played out only in the beginning, others only in the middle, and others like only in the end. But I guess it's just completely random. Hmm. You only played it once. Okay, got it. All right, in view now we have this apartment. It looks very normal. And we even have sounds of steps, which is, again, I think like a very nice way to sort of accentuate the change of perspective, right? Like in other games, you can say that the sounds of steps is just it's a default option, right? It's this thing that exists, yeah, and you don't pay attention to it. But in a game like this, it's like such a mundane, expected sort of detail or mechanic, even you can say. In this game, it serves a pretty important role of signifying how you know how your perspective changed, how the whole scene sort of changed. Yeah, I'm not sure what the time period of this game. Like this computer looks pretty old to me. Yeah, like lots of details. Now this is more of a traditional walking sim, like going home, something along those lines. And another thing that I kind of mentioned right in the beginning, how I'm really into games that let us sort of experience the non-Western, sort of non-English sort of cultures, right? Like how I mentioned this Indonesian horror game, and considering I'm not sure what exact spaces the Promesa sort of shows us. Well, I guess these spaces are kind of like inspired by some cities like in Italy and Argentina or something along those lines. But it feels so nice just to, especially in games that are about experiencing spaces very intimately, to to basically experience like something very different that you don't really visit. For example, I never visited Italy, like Argentina. Yeah, yeah, it's like this. It's winter game. Well, in case of winter of this one, I'm pretty well, very well familiar with Russian Soviet sort of Soviet panel houses. But yeah, that's a good example too. Okay, let's actually proceed. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of sucks that the space is just it's it doesn't the game doesn't tell us what kind of what city this is, right? Like what the time period too is like a little bit vague, because now I sense this is weird, but I want to know what is like a direct inspiration of this one. Yeah, look at this, like all those details. And now I'm playing the walking sim. This toilet paper. Who puts toilet papers on floor? This is so weird. Like I remember the first time I saw it, I was also bugged out about this. Like why? Why would you do this? It will get dirty. You're destroying the whole point of toilet paper. But anyway. Lazy people. Yeah, well. Another interesting thing that, well, I guess kind of from, you can say from my cultural perspective, is how, like, the whole layout of our apartment is just it's so weird. Like for example, we have this sort of personal room, right? And usually you would expect that you would have like your computer set in your personal room, right? Like this is where you do all this stuff, but actually no, the computer is just it's in this, I don't even know how you call this, like a living room, this hall. And this hall is the first room that you get to when you enter the apartment. Yeah, that's just, yeah, I don't know, this is weird for me. It's like kind of, it's hard to like understand the whole thing. It just clashes with my kind of experience. Yeah, like in Russian apartment, you would expect that the entrance to the apartment would be somewhere here, like in this corridor. Yeah, it's just I guess another thing that is you can appreciate a lot about those games that you let experience those different cultural spaces. It's just, it's kind of enlightening in a way. Okay, I should go to this one. Huh? Oh, look at this view and this clock ticking. It makes me realize how us Americans use too much space. uh, yeah, well, we kind of have the same problem, you can say, in Russia. More of a more in terms of how we treat spaces for buildings. It's just it's very common to have like vast unused areas, like vast unused spaces between buildings, like in modern districts, where it's just, there is just grass, there is wild grass and nothing else. Uh, wait, so anyway, what should I do? Uh, I love the sound of this light switch. Ah, so good. Um, yeah, I need some ghost object to get to. There is none. Mm, yeah, okay. Now I'm a little bit lost, which is not a bad thing in games like this. Mm. And the funny thing is, I believe I played this through this one. I hope it's not a bug I encountered. Oh, is it the ticking? The clock ticking is different. I need to find out. This is my objective now. There's another one. Holy shit! I missed it. I think it's different. I feel like they're different, but maybe I'm just imagining things. Hmm. Well, I guess let's get out of here. Oh, okay, yeah, I guess I was supposed to get out. All right. Yeah, this courtyard is, it's so cozy. Like, feels so good. I would like to have a courtyard like this. Okay. And now I have another scene of that town. I believe we saw it already. And then this one is very short one. Listen, you can neither do anything nor have to. You're living on the far side of the world. It is what it is. What can we do? And it's nobody's fault, really. You see, this is what happens when one spends their entire life traveling. Yeah, that's uh that's an interesting one. Calling out people who like to travel a lot. Oh, okay. This is new. Haven't seen this one yet. Everything is kind of made of sand or something like this. Is this? Yeah, I'm not sure what the sound is about. Ah, this one hurts my eyes a little bit. Oh, this sound is it's a little bit unsettling. Yeah, I think we've seen this piano before. Yeah, this is some horror stuff going on. Okay, yeah, this one is weird. Oh, look at this! Look at this ghost little town, like buildings, houses, whatever they are. Ah, they're so cool. Maybe ghost house. Yeah, exactly. Oh, look at this. How the light reflects on this one. Oh, well, now this is anticlimactic. Hmm. Wait a second. Can I move? Okay, I guess I can. Oh no, it's moving on its own. Hmm. Truth is, we went back and forth for 20 years. Is everything, the family, until the both of us grew too old. I wanted to go back again, but it was no longer an option. It's like a chasm, something that attracts me, you know? Of course, I've always wanted to go back. I would always go back. Hmm. So I'm getting some new text. Oh, this one I saw. Yeah, this scene is, it features, I think, one of the best video game pigeons I encountered in a while. Yeah, just they're so good. Just look at them. Ghost pigeons. Yeah, the way they're like done is just really loves this effect. Oh, little jump scare. Yeah, this game is just it's full of really nice sort of unexpected, you can say creative choices in terms of how to 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 execute like certain things. Like in this case, you can think of like how do you make a pigeon in your video game, right? And you can think about how you model the pigeon, how you make all the animations, how it moves around, and how it flies away when the player approaches it. And but this is just it's just so good. I hate pigeons in real life, by the way. I can't stand them, especially when they gather in such a big quantities. You know, ah, terrible. But in video games, very cute, especially when they're in their ghostly form. I'll get this. Uh, oh yes, this scene too. Yeah, this one is really nice. Pigeons are those with nice colors. Damn, I don't know what those are, unfortunately. Yeah, this projection is. Oh, so that's I assume that's kind of like this video shows us the family that lived or lives in this house. Those are white birds as symbols. Oh yeah, yeah, I get it now. Yeah, this scene is, I guess, among one of my favorites. In many ways because of this projector thingy. And the music too is just stellar, as usually. That's like, this is how walking sim should be done. You can say this is just you. There is kind of like an argument that walking sims eventually fell out of favor, right? If we're talking about the first wave, like Stanley Parable, Dear Esther, Going Home Like a Journey, that got all this public and enormous acclaim, right? And then we can look at the next titles that were made by the studios, by these people, like Tacoma from Fulbright, right? Or Everyone's Gone to Rapture, or like Beginner's Guide. There are still very good games, but they just, I don't think they got the same level of exposure and again the same acclaim as the first sort of titles. And like the one argument I heard is that eventually, like the problem is walking sims that because of their mechanical minimalism, they served as a novelty in the beginning, like a nice novelty. They stirred a lot of like controversial discourse right around them, but eventually you just kind of get used to them, and because of this very restrictive like formula that they were following, like this, you have those highly detailed, highly like high fidelity environments that you can only basically go through. And you have this narrator that comes out from time to time and then tells you a story. This is just a formula that you get used to it very quickly, and it kind of falls off. But And there are games that kind of decided to move away from this, like What Remains of Edith Finch, I think, is a good example. They try to push from this like minimalistic, this of this mechanical minimalism of first walking sims. But again, I think as Promesa shows us, it's not really a problem at all. You can, it's all depends on how you execute it. It all depends what kind of how you express whatever point you want to come across. And I think Promesa shows us that you can, this formula still works. It all depends on execution. It's a really good game, and I can say that, yeah, it's kind of similar to Dear Esther, but at the same time, it's not. It's just, it feels totally different. And I had a blast with this one. Even so, like, before this game, I felt like, yeah, walking sims, like especially old ones, kind of not really into them anymore. But then I played Promesa and like, wow, okay, I guess actually you can, it all depends how you do it in the end. Oh, this street is, and this music, ah, man, so good. Anyway, let's get to our whatever ghost objects we have this time. Oh, there is a little bit of a jump scare if I remember correctly. Oh yeah, we get. Oh. I guess this is like our parents, and we leave our like family house, something like this. This is the idea. I kind of like about how this game sometimes it just the transitions between scenes are like usually it's going on through fade in, right? Like a very slow fade in, but sometimes the game just decides like, hey, I'm going to pull you very like aggressively, very abruptly into the next segment. And it's also like, you can say that it's just kind of bad, it ruins the consistency, but in this game I think it works perfectly actually. Again, it kind of keeps things fresh. Again, it doesn't let you to get used to it, to get bored with, to get sort of this feeling of, oh yeah, I know how this game works now. I know what to expect from it. So yeah, this transition again works pretty well in my opinion. All right, we have another text. Way back before going to sleep, I used to read, wanting to learn something new every day. Anything, you know? But now I just can't. I don't have the energy anymore. Look, now just reading a single page drains me. Because I forget right away. That book I lent you? At this point I've been on the same page for months. Things don't stick with me. They escape me. Ah, this one, this fragment also speaks to me a lot. Like, I can't read books these days, especially like non-fiction books about like history and stuff. It's just that like 300 pages or more. It feels like such a impossible, daunting task to finish those. It's just, yeah, kind of sucks. But this one also very relatable. On another kind of scary, unsettling level. And here we have another scene. That's why you like books with short chapters. Yeah, like short books, like 100 pages. Yeah, I think it's all right. I can do it. But any more than that, especially again if it's like non-fiction, like games or books on like game design, for example. Oof. Or like architecture. Even so, it's like it's very interesting. I want to read this. All right, I want to get what these books are about, but nah, the site is just too much. Yeah, this scene is. Mm, we are kind of floating above these clouds, kind of like a cloud carpet, sort of, you can call it. And then in the, I'm not sure it's actually the center of this level. We get this little scene. The way I thought about it is that mm, in Russian there is this. Actually, I might be off in this one too, because in Russian there is a saying that is often applied to younger people, like to children, like to youth, that they are fly in the skies, something like fly in the clouds, something along those lines. Kind of like pointing out their carefree sort of nature about of young people, how they don't really care about the tomorrow, they live in the present moment, right, in very kind of like unresponsible manner. And considering that our perspective in this one is perspective of a kind of like a child, right? Like you could look at this as sofa and you say like, yeah, I'm pretty small. And then there is television with a bunch of those miniature houses that kind of invoke the idea of toys. So the scene of a child playing with toys in front of TV, this is kind of what comes to my mind. But again, I might be wrong on this one. Maybe my cultural sort of bias steers me in the wrong direction. But still, it's interesting to think about it, right? It's interesting to try to interpret in this really weird, surreal scenery in something cohesive. Okay, let's get to it. You know what sucks is this? Oh, okay. Now this gets very creepy. Oh my god, what is this TV? I don't remember it showing those like weird screams or something like this. Okay, let's get out of here. Yeah, what is going right now? I'm not really sure. This cave thingy. I don't really have any much of an idea. So what I wanted to say that this VTuber avatar kind of sucks in the sense that when I talk about this stuff, I constantly move my hands, but this avatar can't move its hands unfortunately, which sucks. And it also sucks that I need to buy like you basically need to buy this like leap tracker or whatever this thing called, which costs like hundreds bucks. Like oh my god, yeah, maybe in the future, but for now we're being poor beginner VTuber kind of. Okay, anyway, let's go. Okay, I remember this one. I mean, it's interesting. What is it? What's the musical instrument is used for this one? It's like a flute or something. Yeah, I played this. I played it once. I wanted to experience it in a sort of a casual player mindset. Even so, I'll tell you this: I failed utterly. I still was trying to analyze stuff as I was playing this one, but it's kind of hard to escape this game design analysis mindset once you get into it. Yeah, that's what level designer does, which kind of sucks, but yeah, this scene is like it's so weird. We're in this apartment, and there are like a bunch of those ghostly trees that actually very cute. I love them. I love how they float around. No idea what this one can symbolize again. And then there's like this kind of like a cave with it's like my workspace or something, my personal PC. And this photo too. It's kind of creepy. Oh, I love this effect so much. Hmm. Okay, now we're this apartment again. And this time we are living, I guess. Again, looks like this time we are adult. And we actually inhabiting. We are in a body of adult person. And we have the sounds of steps to help to understand this. Hmm. I think I look at this corridor, and it's so narrow, right? And I assume this is like this is the corridor that basically connects to all the apartments, kind of. Man, it might be. It should be like such a pain in the ass to move through this when there are like several people. It's kind of claustrophobic even. Like imagine you're getting home at night and you see a person on the other end of this corridor and you can't see that much and this person goes into your direction, right? It would be very scary. Very unsettling experience for me at least. But this door is really cool. And now we're returning, looks like. Some of the scenes they have a very interesting experience of, I believe Robert mentioned on his stream of this game too, how some of these scenes, especially like in the beginning, the way they're framed, it feels like you're searching something through Google Maps, like through Google Earth or something, and you're like moving in 3D mode through streets of like some city, something like this. Yeah, I saw this one. Man, I really miss Robert's streams so much. I hope he gets into streaming, back into streaming this year. Oh, another thing that those dogs I love about this game is how another set of. Wait a second. What? Hmm? It looks like I'm moving. It sounds like I'm moving, but actually staying in one place. Uh, Okay, this is weird. But anyway, maybe like a bug or something. Another sort of critique that I encountered about walking sims is how a lot of basically, especially like early walking sims, they all they all have this quality of being lifeless, right? That you basically all the spaces, whether it's again Dear Esther, uh, or Stanley Parable, Gone Home, you navigate spaces. They have no life in them, or like no people, no characters you can interact with, which is actually interesting feature because it shouldn't be necessarily a thing, right? But what I like how Promesa handles it, like it's lifeless environments, you can say, again through its sound design, how you can hear like, people screaming or shouting something as you move through space, or like a dog somewhere near you barking, or like someone on the car passing through the street. It gives you a nice sort of impression that this space is actually there are people who live here, right? So that's, I guess you can say, like one way to handle it. If you consider it's a problem, because maybe it's not. So we're going back, I guess. Now everything's silent. This transition is maybe a little bit too abrupt. I feel like we should hear a lot from the outside still, but whatever. I like how there was like it was a sound like of a key unlocking the door. Oh, that's nice. Also, another like there were no animations, no like props of like keys turning, like appearing and rotating and stuff like this, right? It was pure sound, and it was enough. It was more than enough to sell the idea of what's happening, right? I guess sound is just that powerful. Oh, now everything is empty, right? So we're kind of like returning after a long period of time to our sort of to this apartment. This lonely chair, lonely pretty chair. And now lights are not turning on, of course. And we also have radiator. I can't believe that actually Robert didn't comment on this radiator during his stream. That was such a missed opportunity, I think. Because I think it's a nice radiator. Looks really good. Even so, I'm not a connoisseur of radiators, of course. Can't give a good opinion on those. It's also kind of creepy to walk through abandoned kind of apartment, right? Especially when there is no lighting. It's kind of dark a little bit. So you can say there is a little bit of element of horror too. And it looks like the speed of my movement kind of slowed down, judging by by the sound of my steps. So that's a nice change too. Oh, and now this is ending, I think. And here we have the credits. Yeah, that was a good game. I was surprised to see. First of all, I was surprised to see asset credits. That's a really nice feature. But also a nice surprise was seeing Robert. This one. Also crediting free sound users. Well, I got even a bunch of new achievements. Nice. So yeah, that was Promesa. And I guess in conclusion, kind of to reiterate the point I was sort of mentioning throughout this playthrough, that again, you can say that Promesa basically operates within those tropes of like early walking sims, right? It's very simple in terms of mechanics, sometimes a little bit too simple even. And you can say that games like this, they just in 2022, they just don't work, right? They they're too boring, they're too old, and we need to go into direction of more mechanically sophisticated games like Edis, the What Remains of Edith Finch, for example, right? But I think what Promesa shows us is that actually it's just completely not true. Games like that work in this formula of like early classical walking sims, they can still give you incredible experiences. They can still surprise you. They can still feel fresh. And I guess I also like how Promesa shows us a lot of unorthodox sort of approach to kind of expressiveness, how to handle those, very kind of traditional elements of video games like environments. How do we introduce game environments? Well, Promesa shows us that actually you don't even need to, you can just model out, and sometimes not even like completely, the important environment, the important scene, and everything else can be just pitch black or pitch white void, right? And other stuff like this. And you don't need narration all the time. So yeah, I think it's like a very interesting case study of a game, of a walking sim that is supposed to be just it, that it shouldn't work, but actually it does. It does very well. So yeah, and I'm interested. I'm very interested, especially now, to see the next game by Julian, right? His name, by from the author of this one. So we'll definitely check it out on some future streams, I hope. Well, uh, yeah. So the next one probably will be Quake. The next time I'll return to the good old Quake, because there is Retro Gem, the new one coming out in a like it should be actually today, I think. So I'll cover this one out, I think, and after that we'll see. So thank you, Quasi for coming and keeping me company. Thank you to anyone who watched this one in VOD. I hope you had a good time, and yeah, I'll see you next time. Have a good one, stay safe, and bye bye.